The Florida Gators, are they going to be an absolute bust this year coming off their successful season last year or successful
In terms
season?
of a bust.
Well, let's just do what we always do in these videos. I'm going to go ahead and ruin the entire video
I say yes.
and say, because David's ruined one, John's ruined
Well,
one,
your turn.
and
May
I'm
as well ruin it.
going to ruin this
You ruin
one.
every video you're in.
And
I'm
say,
just kidding.
oh, yeah. Oh, hold on. I'm going to
Dallas.
say yes, they are. But
I'm gonna pull Dallas.
real quickly, hey, that's yes, my good thing. Real quickly, sponsorship. Just want to thank Cam Smith with the American Senior Benefits
Absolutely.
Insurance Company for
Cam, we're
sponsoring
gonna
us.
write you a song.
His link is below. All contact information. Also, Cam Smith with the Just Jesus Network Radio. Appreciate
didn't mean to
him for
breathe in
giving
right
us
there. I'm sorry.
a sponsorship. So definitely
You gonna shout the
appreciate
tea
him.
out, though?
Also, one more shout out real quick. By this time, most people already quit watching our videos
100%.
anyway.
Yeah, I quit.
Look at our watch time. It's like
But-
2 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm just
but
kidding.
just want to give a shout out to Brother Tim Ramsey, our assistant pastor, because he absolutely loves this shirt. Says I wear it every video. Comment if you
does.
like my shirt.
And I mean, Realtree, if you're seeing this video,
Yeah,
sponsor.
Realtree, yeah.
Well,
So
let's go
Dude,
and
if we ever
sponsor.
got
thank you,
sponsored by
Brother Tim.
Realtree,
So let's
That's
dive
when
into
you
this
know
for
we
real. Is Georgia is Georgia gonna
Golly.
lose? Is Georgia gonna lose to Florida again this
No.
year?
no.
Because
they're
because
not gonna lose to Florida again. Like,
Because-
In all seriousness, though, when
this
is the
video is a bust.
when is the last like let's be serious and when is the last time that Georgia has lost to Florida 2 years in a row?
Probably back before our parents existed.
Like in all seriousness,
I genuinely don't know. Probably Tebow days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think Urban Meyer days.
Yeah, probably Tebow days. Seriously, I don't know. It'd be good. You know, I could look stuff up and know my crap.
Well,
But no, I don't know.
it's too much work.
That question, I mean, we wait till now to come up with these questions. I don't know.
Right.
But we got the trusted Danny Laptop here. But no, Florida's not beating Georgia again this year. I mean, they could, depending on what happens, but they're not. Jake Fromm, I believe, went 3-0 versus Florida.
And, well, real quick to kind of go back to really rein in the main question, is Florida going to potentially kind of bust this year and have a bad season? I would really love if Florida fans are watching this video. I'd love to know y'all's thoughts because the way I see it, and I have nothing against Florida. I'm a Clemson fan if you haven't, like, seen some of our other videos.
I have a lot against
Which
Florida.
he does. He's a Georgia fan. But I have nothing against Florida. I don't like him. I don't hate him. But from more of an outside perspective.
15-16.
Okay.
20,
But
15,
more from an outside perspective, the way I
3
view
years
Florida
ago.
this year
3 years.
is last year, y'all.
Who was
14, 15,
That's not
16.
Tebow. Is it 2015?
I don't
What
know.
was it, 15, 16? No, that's not Tebow.
Yeah, and then y'all won 3 years in a row, and they won last year.
But real quick, back
Come
to what I was saying was from an outside perspective, the way I see it, y'all went 8-4 last year,
Right.
and it was a great season for y'all. Y'all won the East for the first time in a good handful of years under Dan Mullen. The best year Dan Mullen's had with y'all had a prolific offense, obviously a really egregious defense. But the way I see it, at least from an outside perspective, and I know a decent bit about Florida. I keep up with them a good bit because they're a top program. I keep up with more of the top programs in college football. But as a Florida fan, do you really think that y'all are going to have a better year than last year? Because Georgia's more up.
Yep.
So that's the reason I think it's very reasonable to see Florida could have a much tougher year than they did last year. And they only went 8-4 last year.
Now, can you get on the schedule, Florida schedule there?
Yeah.
Florida's going to have a tough year this year.
Yeah.
Everything, here's my thing. I think that Florida fans and Dan Mullen want Emory Jones to be somebody he's not.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Emory Jones is an elite level quarterback. Can he prove me wrong? Yes. I've been
And
proven wrong
I
before.
think that's the only way Florida has
Absolutely.
a great season is if Emory Jones comes out and he's a Heisman candidate. He's just an elite guy, just lighting up defenses.
Florida has, over the last few years, and they're going to this year, an inability to run the football.
Yeah.
I've read some scrimmage notes on Florida, and if these notes were accurate, I believe Emory Jones was sacked 7 times
Which is crazy.
in their scrimmage. So either your defensive line is ungodly good,
Yeah.
or your O-line's terrible, and their O-line's pretty
Or
bad.
even a little bit of both.
Even a little bit of both, and their O-line's pretty bad. It just is. They really don't have anybody very proven to run the ball. DeMarcus Bowman goes on there. I don't think he's done really anything.
No, I've seen that today. DeMarcus Bowman is not starting, although he will get playing time.
I'm sure.
But he's definitely
Yeah.
not.
Well,
not
that's what I was
starting.
about to say. I believe their backfield is at least a little bit deeper depth-wise this
Right.
season than what they've maybe had in years past. But you look at what they've lost last year. They lost Kyle Pitts, who arguably was maybe
Yep.
the most talented player in college football last year. He was that special. You got Kyle
Yep.
Trask, a Heisman candidate quarterback. You got Kadarius Toney at the
Well,
wide
and you
receiver
saw what
position.
happened
Yeah,
in that
they're replacing
offense.
their center, Brett Hagee.
Yeah,
That offense dropped off hard just without Pitts.
exactly.
Just without
Yeah.
Pitts.
Right.
But still having Tony and Trask.
Right.
Georgia, second half, you lost Pitts. I don't think they scored a touchdown second half versus Georgia.
I'm not sure.
Right.
After it was in Pitts. Bowl game, no Pitts.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I think we have to go back to, and we just did a LSU video making a comeback, whereas LSU went 5-5 last year. It's not hard to get above that.
Right.
And in the complete opposite with Florida, whereas they went 8-4 last year, had the number one passing offense in the country
Right.
with Kyle Trask, with Kyle Pitts, with their center, with their wide receivers. It's hard to live up to that hype again. It's hard to have the number.
I think that's what is kind of interesting to me. Is typically, let's just say we didn't know the records, and obviously it was a weird COVID year last year,
Right.
on a 10-game regular season. But really, what killed Florida and what makes me fear a little bit Florida, the last two games they played is when they looked bad.
Right.
So you see LSU, the last two games they played,
Finished
they
strong.
finished
Right,
strong.
right.
Georgia finished
And that
strong.
doesn't
Exactly.
necessarily always correlate
No,
with the next
Right,
season.
absolutely not.
but-
Florida finished weak, but what I'm trying to get to is if you would have told me Florida won the East last year, and just let's pretend it wasn't a weird COVID year with 10-game regular season, I'd say they probably won at least 9, probably 10 games.
10,
You're probably
11.
looking at 10-2, 10-3,
Right.
maybe 11. And then you tell me they went 8-4 and won the East.
Right.
So if you're telling me you're not going to win the
Yep.
East this year, because I don't think you are, I think Georgia's going to win the East. I think they're maybe the best team in college
Yeah.
football on paper. What are you going to go 8-4 again?
And-
7-5?
And that's the thing with the
And that's a disappointing season.
with one of the best
Has to- yeah,
seasons that they
absolutely.
one of the best seasons that they've had in a while.
At least under Dan Mullen.
Tim Tebow.
Right. With beating Georgia, with the number one passing offense, you still only go 8-4. And yes, I understand that. And you made the SEC championship. You hung with Bama. They hung with
Right.
them.
Well, really, that score is a little bit closer.
Well,
'cause
they scored-
Bama was in control of that game.
Right, they were. But
They're
like
John
I said,
Mechie knocking the ball out of
Right.
whatever.
No,
defensive
yeah.
from
Yeah.
being in the game.
No,
Yeah.
and I agree
I
with
will
that.
say that.
Yeah.
And I'm a Georgia fan who
and then they threw that dude shoe and lost the game to
against
LSU.
Marco Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm-
He was a good player.
and
Yeah.
he's playing good in the
Yeah,
league right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'm a Gator hater. I hate the Florida Gators. I do. I have nothing personally against your fan base at all, and I'm a realistic fan here, and so I'm not gonna get on here and just bash Florida.
Yeah.
But you lost a bunch. You had not a generational team, but you had the best offense you've had since Tim Tebow.
Yeah, you had a generational tight end.
And yeah, absolutely. And you went 8-4.
Yeah,
Look for him to make big news at Atlanta too.
You
I
know,
agree.
teams that are going 8-4. Ole Miss,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even.
Arkansas,
Yeah,
Missouri's.
Right, and I think a lot of that goes back to coaching.
Yep.
With Dan Mullen, and like I said, we're not getting on here to bash Dan Mullen, but here's a stat that I found interesting that and we talked about this in our other video, that LSU goes 5-5, coming off a national championship season, goes 5-5, still picks up the number 3 recruiting class. Florida goes 8-4, beats Georgia,
Best season they've had since Tim Tebow.
goes to the SEC championship, hangs with Bama to some aspect, and still only brings in the number 12 recruiting class in the nation.
right.
You would think that they would at least have a top 10. I'm not saying top 5, but at
When
least
it comes-
top 10.
When it comes to Dan Mullen, recruiting is not a priority to
Yeah,
him.
he
And
at
that's
least
the way
it's not
it
his strong
seems,
suit
yeah.
to the max.
It's not a strong suit, but I mean, when Georgia sets in on a target, Kirby Smart's visiting him.
Right,
Kirby Smart's calling him. When Clemson sets in, Dabo's calling him.
right.
Alabama, Nick Saban. Florida has like these lower staff guys
Right.
recruiting these kids. It's not Dan Mullen. It's not even Todd Grantham. I'm gonna say this: the Florida coaching staff is not a very strong coaching staff. Todd Grantham is an all right defensive coordinator, but have you ever heard the term third and Grantham?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have.
The term third and Grantham basically says we're going to screw up on third down.
Right.
Because on third down, he's bringing the house. And everybody knows it. It's okay to blitz on
Yeah.
third down, but you don't want the offense to know you're going to do it.
Right.
Todd Grantham's not a great.
Right.
And I'll say this about the Florida defense. You lose Marco Wilson, the guy that threw the shoe versus LSU. I know he got clowned for that. He was pretty good.
Yeah, no, he was.
Your defensive line's pretty good if you're Florida.
Right.
You ought to feel good about Dexter there on defensive line and a couple other guys. Believe their second corner was going to start. He tore his ACL, a month or two ago. things aren't top to bottom. Your roster is depleted.
Right, and here's is this a fair question to, we say that Florida had one of the best teams they've had in a long time, but it wasn't necessarily their defense that won them ball games.
It wasn't
for
at
sure.
all. No, it's,
and
it's
we
what lost them ball games.
Yeah,
was
and
their
we've
defense.
referred to this already, but even in the press conference and the media days this year, they asked Dan Mullen about his defense last year. The only thing he could say was that our offense scored points.
Yeah.
Couldn't even address his defense last year. So not necessarily that they had a great team, but they had a great offense last year.
And I'll tell you what, I always actually really liked Demo when he was with Mississippi State, what he did with Dak Prescott. And I even liked him coming up to Florida until this really last season because of what happened in the Oklahoma game. He literally said,
There was a whole team under the bus.
Yeah, not only that, he was literally like, this game don't matter to us. Our season ended in the SEC championship, and we got our scout team out there. Yet come SEC Media Day, they're asking him. He literally pretty much said, yeah, the team you saw against Oklahoma, that's the team we got this year. Wait, what? You pretty much just said you were just throwing your scout team out there. Now
your team sucked.
And now you're trying to stick up for your team. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But to get back on Dan Mullen, and I know we've kind of only, these first 11 minutes has pretty much just been hating on Florida. But to defend Florida a little bit, Dan Mullen, he's probably one of the best, if not arguably the best quarterback type coach.
Riley. Yeah.
Right. He worked with Tim Tebow. Now, obviously, Tim Tebow didn't do nothing in the league, but college-wise, Tim Tebow was one of the greatest college, if not the greatest college quarterback of all time.
Did you see that block he made?
No, what a block.
He got cut.
He got cut fast.
Yeah.
But
they blocked him from coming back to the facilities.
Urban Meyer cut him.
But we've seen what Dan Mullen has done.
Yeah.
We've seen what he done with Tim Tebow. We've seen what he has done with Dak Prescott, Felipe Franks. Even he had him playing at a high level. Kyle Trask. And again, as we mentioned earlier, if Florida wants to succeed and if Florida wants to have a great year, it's going to run through. Emory Jones has to be elite, and if anybody's going to get the best out of Emory Jones, it's going to be Dan Mullen.
And I've seen this comparison. I don't know if y'all have heard this. Who Dan Mullen is comparing Emory Jones to? Have y'all heard that?
I have not.
He's comparing him to Lamar Jackson. That's coming from him as his head coach.
Right.
With the ability to run, which I haven't seen Emory Jones play a lot, but in order to compare him to Lamar Jackson, dude better be fast.
We don't have my comparison to Emory Jones in here. I do have a trash can in the kitchen. I'm sorry. No. Give it 6 games. Anthony Richardson, I don't know his last name. He's a starter for Florida.
You really think that?
I believe that.
You heard it first here.
And if there was a Florida fan sitting in front of me mad about that, I'd say take a bet.
No.
Put some bread on it. Because here's the thing. I don't believe in Emory Jones. Everything I've seen out of him, can he throw the ball 80 yards? Well, maybe not 80, but he can swing that thing. Can he run? Yes. Can he read a defense? No. Does he have touch? No. Can he make good decisions?
But that can come with time.
Yeah,
and experience.
But how much time do you have?
Well, and I agree with what I was about to say is Emory Jones seems to be that kind of guy where,
backup,
like you said,
Anthony, I don't know his name's Richards or Richardson. I think he's pretty good.
But like you said, the thing with Emory Jones, it seems like one drive or one play or one game, you go, wow, look at that dude, and then the next game, not.
Like,
but again, as I just said, but if there's anybody that can get him to put that together, that is Dan Mullen.
And that is fair. And you know, if Emory Jones comes out there and is putting up 250, 300 yards a game, and he looks really good, I think we're saying, Dan Mullen's done it again. Because there's no doubt he's a quarterback guru. Dak Prescott, I believe he produced. Did he not produce Dak Prescott?
Yep. Yeah, no, he did.
At Mississippi State.
And even Felipe Franks, he wasn't the best.
Right.
Yeah, he played at a high level.
He put up the stats preseason.
Yeah. Where did he go to?
Arkansas. And then drafted.
I know he went to Arkansas. But yeah, okay, that's right. Okay.
So if I want to get on here and hate on Florida and Dan Mullen, you could turn the camera on and I'd hate for hours. I can. I'm not a Dan Mullen believer. Give it 2 years, he's gone to the NFL. Screen record it at home if you don't like that I said that, and in 2 years talk to me. It's a fact. He'll be gone. Dan Mullen is a really, really, really good X's and O's guy. He will be a good offensive coordinator for somebody in the NFL, but he's not a college football high caliber head coach. No. You have to be able to recruit.
Right.
It's 50 to 60% of what you do.
One stat that stuck out to me when talking about, can they produce this year was they're only returning 55% of their production from last year. And I think we talked about it back in the Miami Alabama preview that Miami was returning like 97%. And out of 127 teams in the country, Florida is 108 in the return in production, which is very low.
So what you're telling me is they don't bring much in recruiting.
Yep.
And they lost pretty much everything they had.
Yeah.
And
they still only went 8-4 last year.
Right.
So let's very quickly take a look.
Now, granted, some of the games that they lost last year, I mean, they were 1 or 2 plays.
Well, the LSU game they should have won.
Yeah, they were a few plays away from being 10-2.
Because Marco Wilson throws the cleat.
Right.
A few plays later, York kicks the long field goal, they win. Okay, Florida should have won that. So they should have really been 9-3.
No.
Their schedule this year lines up with them though. Like I know we say they're going to be a bust, but their schedule, in a whole, is not very. I say as a Clemson fan, not very tough. But they open up with Florida Atlantic.
Well, if you're Florida,
hey, if Lane Kiffin was still there,
I'd
be rolling with the Owls, baby.
If you're Florida, to do anything less than 9-3, you've got to drop a game to Missouri.
Right.
You have to drop a game to LSU.
Right. So that's what I'm getting. So they open up with Florida Atlantic.
Right.
So we'll definitely give them a win. Then they go to South Florida.
Hey, Jeff Scott.
Yeah, but we'll give them a win on that.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah, 100%.
Then they play Bama. They're losing to Bama, so they're 2-1.
You're all over the place. Dallas. Straight up and down.
Tennessee at home.
Boomer.
They're beating Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree.
3-1.
So you're 3-1.
They're going to Kentucky.
I can see him losing that game.
I can see him losing that game too.
Definitely see them
I actually had him on my prediction losing that game. So
3-2.
3-2. Vandy at home. They're beating Vandy.
4-2.
At LSU, I got them losing that game.
4-3.
4-3.
They're not beating LSU.
Georgia, I got them
4-4.
losing that. 4-4. At South Carolina, I've got them losing at South Carolina.
I got them winning. I think they win that game. Well, it'll really be.
That's my maybe game.
If they play week 1, definitely Florida.
They're not losing Kentucky and South Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely split that.
But coming off, I mean, you're coming off back-to-back weeks at LSU and Georgia.
Like we say,
You're depleted.
all of this counts on Emory Jones.
It does.
That's what I'm saying.
If he looks terrible, they could lose to South Carolina.
But like I said earlier, if Emory Jones comes out and the Heisman guy, they could win a lot of those close
doubt.
games that we're giving the nod to.
So let's give them. We'll give them a win at South Carolina. We'll just say that.
So what is that?
I'm gonna give them Kentucky and they.
So either
Carolina,
one.
but it doesn't
So
matter
they're
which
5-4.
Samford,
they're winning that one. Missouri, I've got them losing that one.
Golly, we got the Checkers going 7-5, 6-6.
Yeah. So they're 7-5, or they're 6-5, and then Florida State at home.
They'll beat Florida.
They'll beat Florida State. So they're going 7-5.
Yeah.
7-5, 8-4 max.
So basically, they're gonna do
About
a little bit worse, or really, they're gonna do worse than they did last year.
You gotta think last year was also a weird year.
Yeah,
and like I said, that's
regular
giving them that win against South Carolina. They could possibly go 6-6.
But you also do got to take into consideration last year was again a 10-game all SEC SEC schedule.
It was
that they had to face. But again, one thing that I'd like to butt in real quick, I like to consider myself definitely more than just a casual college football fan. But when it comes to Florida, I'm not no expert of the Florida Gators roster and all that. But from a more of a casual fan perspective, you look at Florida 8-4, they win the East. There's no way I expect them to do better than that. That's why I think it's fair to say I could see them dropping off because Georgia's way stronger. Georgia's gonna win the East. I don't care what you think. Georgia's gonna win the East.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
unless they just have some debacle of a year.
Even if Florida goes 9-3, if you don't win the East, it's a lesser year than last year.
Georgia's got 3 quarterbacks.
And that's the thing. They could possibly with this schedule have a better record than they did last year. And still not be as successful.
Right,
if that's even a possibility to have a better record and not be successful, because to me, if you make the SEC,
I'd rather win my division.
Yeah, if you make the SEC championship in 2020 and you don't in 2021, you didn't have as a successful as a season.
And that's the bottom line.
Exactly.
The first time Dan Mullins won his division.
Yep.
And it seems like it almost took it pretty much took Georgia having a down year for him to do that.
Right.
Not necessarily that he just went out there and was like, hey, we're imposing what we do.
No.
Georgia was down to their 4th-string quarterback.
Yeah.
And then John Mathis came in the game and about killed the game manager.
Yeah.
But so that's where that clip comes from. But, man, I think Florida drops off. And Florida has a history over the last 10 years to have a couple good years, a bad year.
No.
Yeah.
Good year, bad year.
Yeah, and this could be their bad year.
I think this is their bad year. Can they end up going 10-2, 9-3? Sure. And if their only losses, did they play Alabama?
Yep.
Yeah, they play Alabama, LSU, and Georgia.
Rip.
Yeah.
That's 3 losses. But let's just say they go 10-2 and only lose to Bama and Georgia. If you're a Florida fan,
I'm beyond excited.
tip your hat.
to Dan
Yeah.
Mullen.
and enjoy
Yeah,
your
with
New Year's
yeah,
Six
with
Bowl.
what what you lost last year,
New Year's
and to
Six.
go that,
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. There's definitely a boom potential for this team,
Oh, no doubt.
but it looks like they're against
looks-
the wall.
it looks bleak.
And again, we continue to go back to this in our podcast. A lot of it relies on their quarterback.
And like I said just the video ago, that's for every team.
Right.
But, man, I'm not an Emory Jones believer.
Right.
You've got to prove me wrong, Emory Jones.
Yeah.
You have
And
to.
he could, and we'll.
And he could, but I don't
and
think
only time will tell.
And, all these cats were, well, Emory Jones came in the game versus Oklahoma and he looked better. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like 10 for 16 for 80 yards.
No.
That's not anything spectacular. No doubt. Emory Jones, every couple of plays, is like, wow. And then the next drive, it's like, what?
So what we need to see consistency.
Right.
Consistency.
And if every drive is wow, you're looking at a Heisman contender.
Right.
Yeah. So,
And so does he have some measurables and does he have some potential?
Absolutely.
Sure. But does he have potential to come out there and go 8-4, 7-5, 6-6?
Yeah.
Or in a worst case scenario 5-7? Yeah.
definitely.
Does he have potential to lose his job? Yes, he does.
So, well, let us know what you think Florida's record will be. Like I said, we've got them going 8-4, 7-5. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about Emory Jones. As John always says, like, subscribe, comment,
And share.
Check
Share
out-
with
check out
everybody you know.
Yeah, and as David said, check out Cam Smith.
And again, as I sometimes say, even if you're a Florida fan and you're mad and you're angry and you hate us right now, share it with people you don't like. If you think this video is terrible, share it with people you hate and make them suffer too.
And if you're still watching, go ahead and comment. Kyle.
Local boy.
Oh.
I just seen David's shirt.
Okay, what were you saying?
I was like Kyle because Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, but then somebody might comment Kyle during the comment.
Comment Kyle
That's
or
right.
local boy at this point.
Yeah, whichever one you want.
Local Kyle.
Local Kyle. That's it right there.
Hey, but we appreciate you watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead and subscribe, turn on post notice. Get us next time.
Yep. Until next time, keep talking ball.